Flower Bracelets by Rabia Shaheen. The darkness, prevailing over the limitless vastness of the sky, prepared to depart. Rays of the morning awoke by stretching their golden arms like a new bride. The morning breeze, with the fragrance of new birds, stirred as though with coquetry. Small sparrows sang of morning in their nest. A new day, a new sun, and a new light had brought a new hope and a new message for the earth. Sajju was walking on the footpath towards his destination with a basket of flowers on his head. Today his feet moved faster than before. His heart was filled with longings and his eyes were inebriated with dreams. At this hour the roads of the city were almost desolate. The manner of this city on the shore of the sea was out of the ordinary. Right after the fall of night, all the lights and all the festivities awoke, and the people of the city refused to receive morning until the golden sun descended into their courtyards and peeped through their windows to herald the news of a new day. Occasionally, a car passed by and he raised his right hand to his forehead to greet those sitting in the car. If there was some gentle person in the car, he smiled and bowed his head a little. Otherwise, most of the car drivers passed by him very fast. When someone did not respond to his greeting, he called them names. But there was something different today. Joy had bloomed flowers in and on his whole body, and he was showering smiles even on those who cast their eyes of contempt on him. Sajju belonged to the interior of Sindh. He had come to Karachi in search of employment. His father was a poor farmer, a helpless and powerless farmer who was a victim of the land loss. When Sajju became old enough to understand, he was disgusted with the system that was prevalent in his Goth village. He decided to remove the shackle of slavery around his neck and came to Karachi. Soon, Sajju became tired of doing small jobs and working as a laborer and decided to start his own business. His father handed his whole life savings over to him, which he had planned on spending on his sister's wedding. Sajju promised to return the money when the business flourished. He would buy fresh flowers from the same florist and make flower bracelets which he sold. He set up his stall at a famous roundabout of the city. The flower bracelets and bouquets made of fresh flowers sold like hotcakes. Sajju was very glad that his business was flourishing. He wrote a letter to his father that he would visit the village soon. Before going to the village, Sajju bought many gifts for his family. He brought an ajrak for his father and clothes, shoes, and several other things for his mother and sister. While walking in the bazaar, his eyes caught sight of a stall of bangles. Upon seeing the flashing and twinkling bangles bathed in floodlights, he at once thought of Rani. Rani was his love. He would send his father to her house to ask for her hand. While making flower bracelets, Rani's innocent face always remained before his eyes. He made one bracelet for Rani. He wrapped the fragrant bracelet in a piece of newspaper and put it in his pocket. He had informed Rani about his arrival and was sure that she would be waiting for him anxiously. The condition of the city was not at all good. Strikes, protests, processions, riots, closing down of markets, and curfews were a daily feature of the city. Sajju neither knew anything of the politics of the country nor did he participate in any procession. He had nothing to do but earn money for his parents, sister, and Rani. Now, as his business had flourished, he was satisfied. He thought that he would add some more money and marry his sister off with pomp and show. After that, he would bring his father and mother to the city and would take a marriage procession to Rani's house. He would bring his Rani to this city of glittering lights and show her around the whole city. While holding the hand of these beautiful dreams, He was directing himself towards the big roundabout of the city. This was a busy roundabout of the city, situated at a bridge near a large sewage drain. When he reached the roundabout, the light of the sun had spread fully. It was unusual, but the whole bazaar was still closed and the footpath was also empty. He took out the flowers from the basket and began to arrange his stall. He had been arranging his stall over there for a week. After a while, some laborers also came and sat on the footpath. It was their routine. They sat on this footpath every morning and waited for someone to give them their day's work. Sajju had made friends with many of these laborers. Many were strangers in the city, like him. They had left their hometowns for this industrial city in the hope of a golden future. All had similar dreams in their eyes. It was very hot by now, but the hustle and bustle of the roundabout was not restored. Many of the shops of the bazaar were closed, even now. There were very few vehicles on the road. Sajju was very surprised at this. Perfume sellers, astrologists, bangle sellers, and fruit and vegetable sellers sitting near him had also got tired of waiting for customers. The shopkeepers, too, had tired of sitting idle. Meanwhile, a group of enraged people emerged from a street. They were carrying staffs and clubs in their hands and entering the shops fearlessly, began to wreak havoc on the items in the shop. The laborers sitting on the footpaths began to run here and there. The shopkeepers also began to close their shops. It was a scene of utter chaos. The enraged people began turning carts upside down. Vegetables and fruits were scattered on the road and were trampled underfoot. The bangle sellers' bangles became heaps of shattered glass. Some enraged person advanced towards a befuddled Sajju and lifted his basket of flowers. "You rascal! Don't you know that there is a strike today? How dared you come to the market today? The bazaars had already been closed for 2 days earlier that week. If the laborers working for daily wages didn't work, how would they eat?" Sajju snatched the basket of flowers from their hands. It was not a basket of flowers, but his father's life savings. It was his father's only asset, the joy of his family, his hopes, his love, his dreams were all drowning. For several minutes, he could not believe his eyes. He felt as if he was standing alone at the roundabout full of people and there was no one around him. He was alone, quite alone. Owing to the intensity of his anger, his eyes began to burn like coals. In an effort to control his anger, the bones of his clenched jaw jutted out. He felt as if all the blood in his entire body had gathered in his brain. He knew that his parents were waiting for him, with their eyes cast on the path coming from the city. His love was also longing to feast her eyes on him. Thinking of Rani, he took the piece of newspaper containing the flower bracelet out of his pocket. He was not the Raja of a state, therefore he did not deserve Rani. He crushed the bracelet, made of his yearnings, tore the flowers asunder, and handed them over to the dirty and filthy water of the drain. The bouquets and flower bracelets made by his hands floated away on the water. No one knows what was going through Sajju's mind. He remained standing by the wall of the bridge and continued to look at the drain with burning eyes. And then he jumped into the drain. The Sajju, who had rebelled against the traditional system of his village, who had come to Karachi with a yearning to improve his life, who had come out of his home, along with the new sun in the morning with dreams of a golden future, had now become a part of the filthy drain.